My beloved child, listen carefully, because this moment was arranged long before your eyes landed here. You did not find this by accident, and you did not click this out of curiosity alone. Heaven itself had been watching you, and Archangel Michael has stepped forward with precise direction. There are moments when the spiritual realm interrupts the natural flow of a day, and this is one of those moments. Something concerning your children has reached a turning point, and tomorrow carries a weight that cannot be ignored. This is not a warning spoken in fear, but a message delivered with authority, protection, and divine timing. You may have felt it already without being able to explain it. A subtle stirring in your spirit. A sudden thought about your child that lingered longer than usual. A quiet concern mixed with hope, as if something unseen was shifting just beyond your awareness. That feeling was not imagination. That was discernment awakening. When Archangel Michael directs a soul, it is never random. He is the guardian assigned to moments of battle, transition, and divine enforcement. When he intervenes, it is because heaven has marked a specific point in time where alignment must occur. There has been activity around your children that you could not see, but heaven has never taken its eyes off them. Prayers whispered when no one else was listening have been recorded. Tears shed in silence have not been wasted. Even the worries you felt guilty for having were understood by God, because they came from love. Archangel Michael stands where love and protection meet, and he has been dispatched when the destiny of children enters a new phase. Tomorrow is not just another day on the calendar. It is a hinge, a shift point, a moment where what was forming quietly begins to move outward. Understand this clearly. This message is not here to alarm you, but to prepare your spirit. Preparation is an act of trust, not fear. Heaven prepares those it intends to protect. There are seasons when parents are asked to become more aware, more anchored, more spiritually alert, not because something is going wrong, but because something is being rearranged for good. Your children are not overlooked. Your names are known in the spiritual realm. Their paths have been observed, and what is coming carries the fingerprints of divine intervention. Archangel Michael does not move without instruction. He is the enforcer of God's will, the defender of the innocent, the one who stands between chaos and calling. When he directs attention toward children, it is because their future is being guarded with unusual intensity. There are moments when God accelerates protection, not because danger has won, but because destiny is approaching. Tomorrow represents a line being crossed, not by harm, but by authority. Something that was delayed, confused, or clouded begins to realign. You may have questioned yourself recently, wondered if you were doing enough, asked silently if you missed something important. That self-questioning was not condemnation, it was sensitivity. Parents who are spiritually connected often feel shifts before they see them. Heaven speaks first to the heart, then to circumstances. This message arrives now because awareness is required. Awareness is how you partner with what God is doing without even realizing it. There is also something deeply personal about this moment. This message would not carry the same weight to someone else. It is calibrated to you, to your household, to the prayers that have been specific, even if you never said them out loud. Archangel Michael does not issue broad, careless alerts. When he directs, it is precise. He points to houses, to families, to children by assignment. That is why this feels intimate, almost confrontational in its clarity. Heaven is drawing your attention gently, but firmly. Tomorrow does not mean everything changes outwardly all at once. Some shifts begin invisibly. A protection strengthened, a confusion lifted, an influence removed. A door closed quietly so another can open safely later. The spiritual realm moves before the natural realm responds. That is why this message comes ahead of time. God does not ambush his children with surprise. He prepares them with insight. Take a breath here. Let peace settle instead of tension. Fear is not the language of angels. Assurance is. Archangel Michael's presence always brings clarity, not panic. Strength, not overwhelm. What concerns your children has been brought before heaven, weighed with justice, and answered with action. That action begins to manifest tomorrow, and your role in this moment is simply to be present, receptive, and grounded in trust. This is not about doing more. It is about recognizing that something is already being done on your behalf. You were led here because alignment has already begun. The very fact that you are listening is confirmation that you are not late, not unaware, and not excluded from what God is orchestrating. Your children are covered in ways you cannot yet fully see, but soon you will understand why this moment mattered so much. My precious one, understand this clearly and let it settle deeply into your heart. Your children are not at the center of this shift by coincidence. In the spiritual realm, children always represent what is coming next. They are tomorrow's carriers, tomorrow's voices, tomorrow's builders, long before tomorrow ever arrives. When heaven prepares to move within a family, it almost always begins by securing the future, and that is why your children have drawn such focused and intentional attention right now. This is not because they are fragile. It is because they are valuable, and whatever is valuable is guarded with precision. Archangel Michael has been assigned to moments exactly like this. He does not move casually, and he does not appear without reason. He is dispatched when authority must be established before change becomes visible. Children attract that authority because their lives are still forming, still unfolding, still impressionable to both divine influence and distraction. Heaven sees who they are becoming long before you ever will. That is why protection sometimes intensifies quietly, without dramatic signs, without obvious alarms. Much of what Archangel Michael does happens beyond human sight, but its effects are lasting and deliberate. You may not have noticed anything outwardly alarming. Life may appear normal. Routines continue. Conversations sound the same. Yet beneath the surface, boundaries have been shifting. Lines have been redrawn. Access that once lingered around your children has been restricted. Influences that did not belong have begun to lose their footing. This is how heaven works when it intends to protect without terrifying those it loves. Prevention is one of God's greatest mercies, and Archangel Michael is often the enforcer of that mercy. Many parents believe divine intervention only arrives after something has already gone wrong. But often, God moves first so the wrong never happens at all. What you are experiencing now is not reaction. It is preparation. Tomorrow marks a point where something is secured more firmly than before. That does not mean everything will suddenly look different. Some shifts happen invisibly at first. A covering strengthens. A confusion lifts. A path straightens quietly. These changes may not announce themselves, but they will guide outcomes for years to come. There is also a reason this is happening now and not earlier. Heaven's timing is never random. It is based on readiness. Children reach spiritual threshold, they wait physical and emotional one. Sometimes that threshold looks like growing independence. Sometimes it looks like new environments, new influences, or new questions forming in their hearts. When those thresholds appear, heaven responds with reinforcement. Archangel Michael's involvement tells you that what is being protected is not temporary, but foundational. Your role as a parent in this moment is not to become anxious or hyper-alert. Anxiety does not strengthen protection. Agreement does. Awareness does. Peace does. This message is inviting you into alignment with what God is already doing, not asking you to fix or control anything. Control was never your assignment. Covering was. Love was. Trust was. When a parent's heart aligns with heaven's intention, protection multiplies without strain. Archangel Michael's presence also signals authority. This is not a fragile or uncertain ship. What God establishes here is enforced. It does not rely on human strength or perfect decision-making. It rests on divine command. That should bring relief to your spirit. You are not guarding your children alone. You are not expected to see every threat or anticipate every challenge. Heaven has already taken its position. If this message is resonating deeply with you, acknowledge it. When you like this video, when you comment, when you share it with another parent who may need reassurance, you are not just engaging content. You are spreading a word of covering. Subscribing connects you to ongoing messages meant to strengthen families and protect futures. Joining membership is not merely support. It is alignment with a mission that exists to speak peace where parents feel concern and clarity where questions linger. These actions may seem small, but intention always carries weight in the spiritual realm. There is more unfolding here than can be understood in a single moment. The clarity that is coming will answer questions you may not have even known how to articulate. It will calm areas of your heart that have been quietly restless. Allow yourself to remain present with this message, because what is being revealed now has been timed with care. Many parents never realize when heaven intervenes on their behalf. You have been given awareness, and awareness itself is a gift. Remember this truth. Heaven never centers children in a shift without securing them first. Archangel Michael does not arrive empty-handed. He arrives with assignment, with authority, and with outcomes already approved. The focus on your children is not a signal of danger. It is evidence of value. Something precious is being positioned correctly, and you are being invited to witness it with trust rather than fear. Keep your heart open here. There is a layer of understanding about to surface that will settle your spirit in a way you have not felt for some time, and it is worth giving your full attention to what is unfolding now. Beloved guardian of a precious life, there is a sign that often appears before heaven moves in a visible way, and many parents miss it because it arrives quietly. It does not come with noise or urgency from the outside. It comes as an inner nudge, a sudden sensitivity, a moment where your thoughts return to your child again and again without explanation. That was not anxiety. That was discernment being activated. When God prepares to shift something concerning children, He often alerts the heart of the parent first, not to burden them, but to align them. You may have noticed small changes recently. A question your child asked that stayed with you. A behavior that made you pause. A dream you couldn't shake. Or even a sense of concern that felt unfamiliar, as though it came from outside yourself. These are not random experiences. They are signals. Heaven speaks softly before it speaks loudly. Archangel Michael often sends awareness ahead of action, because awareness invites cooperation rather than shock. One of the most overlooked signs before a divine shift is heightened perception. Parents suddenly notice details they once overlooked. Words land differently. Silence feels louder. Time with their child feels more significant than before. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. When heaven prepares to reinforce protection, it sharpens perception so that nothing important goes unnoticed. You were not becoming worried. You were becoming aware. Archangel Michael's role here is critical. He does not only stand as a warrior, he stands as a watcher. He observes patterns forming before they fully develop. When he steps in, it is often to redirect something quietly, so that what could have become complicated is instead resolved early. That is why this shift does not come with panic. It comes with clarity. The moment you began feeling that inner nudge, intervention had already been authorized. Many parents blame themselves for not recognizing signs sooner, but that guilt does not come from God. Heaven does not accuse, it prepares. The fact that you are receiving this message now means you are right on time. Nothing hath been lost. Nothing has gone too far. Nothing has escaped God's attention. Your children are not behind schedule spiritually. They are precisely where heaven intends them to be for this moment. There is another sign that often appears before protection is strengthened, peace entering where there should logically be worry. You may have noticed moments where concern tried to rise, but it did not take hold. Instead, calm followed. That calm is not denial. It is confirmation. Archangel Michael's presence carries peace because his authority settles what would otherwise disturb. When peace arrives without explanation, it is often because something has already been handled. Tomorrow represents the outward confirmation of what has already begun inwardly. Some parents will notice subtle changes in their child's attitude. Others will feel a release from a burden they have carried for a long time. Some will simply sense that something has clicked into place. These are not dramatic signs, but they are powerful ones. Heaven does not need spectacle to be effective. Let this truth anchor you now. Awareness is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to steady you. You were alerted because you are trusted. God does not share sensitive moments with those who will panic. He shares them with those who will listen, trust, and remain grounded. Archangel Michael's involvement confirms that this shift is protected, supervised, and sealed. You are not being asked to do anything complicated. You are being invited to agree. Agreement is spiritual alignment. Agreement says, I see what you are doing, and I trust you with it. That posture alone strengthens what is already in motion. This is how parents partner with heaven without striving. Now receive this moment intentionally. If this message is speaking directly to your spirit, acknowledge it as an act of faith. Type I receive the shift in the comments if this message is confirming what you have felt. Blessing code 714 has just been released over your household and your children. And hear this carefully, because it flows directly from what has just been unlocked. When a message like this reaches you, it is not only for your protection, but for the protection of many others. I feel led to speak to those whose hearts are stirred to help carry this word further. Every seed sown into this mission becomes light for another family, oil for another lamp, covering for another child. The Lord says, what you place into my hands, I multiply for impact. If you feel that inner pull right now, that is not pressure, that is invitation. Stand with this work through super thanks, membership, or PayPal support found in the description, because this is not a donation. It is a prophetic response. I declare that every giver is blessed with peace, clarity, and divine covering over their children. Step forward now and release what heaven has placed in your hand. My beloved one, it is important that we slow this moment down and allow understanding to settle, because when heaven speaks of tomorrow, it is never casual language. Tomorrow, in God's realm, is not merely the next day on a clock. It is a divinely appointed window. It is a moment that has been prepared, measured, and approved long before you ever sensed it approaching. Heaven does not stumble into timing. It announces timing only when alignment has already been secured. When this message speaks of tomorrow, it is revealing that preparation has reached completion. Something has been forming quietly, patiently, beneath the surface of your life and the life of your children. That formation has now reached maturity. Tomorrow is the moment when what has been invisible gains permission to influence what is visible. This does not mean everything will change suddenly or dramatically. Some of the most powerful shifts begin gently, almost imperceptibly, but their impact stretches far into the future. Many people misunderstand divine timing because they expect it to behave like human urgency. But God does not rush and He does not delay. He moves precisely. Tomorrow is not pressure. It is confirmation. It is heaven saying that what has been guarded in secret is now secure enough to advance. Archangel Michael's involvement tells us that this advancement is protected, supervised, and enforced by divine authority. For parents, the word tomorrow can awaken anxiety because it feels unknown. But heaven never introduces tomorrow to create fear. Heaven introduces tomorrow to anchor awareness. Awareness does not agitate the heart, it steadies it. When you are aware, you recognize God's hand when it moves instead of questioning whether He moved at all. This message is not meant to make you watchful in tension, but attentive in peace. Tomorrow represents alignment. Something that was slightly misaligned, slightly delayed, or quietly resisted is now settling into its rightful place. This could involve direction, relationships, internal struggle, or even decisions your child had not yet voiced. Heaven often adjusts the internal landscape before the external environment changes. When the inside aligns, the outside follows naturally, without force. There are shifts that announce themselves loudly, and there are shifts that move with holy subtlety. This one carries quiet authority. You may wake up tomorrow and find that nothing looks different on the surface, yet something feels different within. Your prayers may feel lighter. Your concerns may lose their grip. Your thoughts may feel clearer. These are not emotional fluctuations. They are spiritual confirmations. Archangel Michael's presence ensures that nothing about this moment is left to chance. Heaven does not improvise with children's futures. It plans carefully, designs precisely, and protects thoroughly. What is unfolding has been authorized at the highest level. That is why you are not being called into fear, but into trust. Trust is the natural response when authority is established. It is also important to understand that divine shifts often protect us from things we will never see. Sometimes heaven intervenes so early that danger never manifests at all. And that is mercy. You may never know what was redirected, restrained, or removed, and you do not need to. Peace is often the evidence that something has already been handled. When worry does not take root, it is because the ground has already been secured. Tomorrow also marks a subtle transition for you as a parent, not in your responsibility, but in your posture. This message invites you to release the weight of outcomes you were never meant to carry. You were called to love, to guide, to pray, and to cover. Enforcement has always belonged to heaven. Archangel Michael's involvement is a reminder that divine authority does not require human anxiety to function effectively. You may notice as you listen that your spirit feels quieter. That's so. Tension eases. That is not disengagement. That is understanding taking root. Confusion is loud. Truth is still. God often confirms His work by removing inner turbulence. When your heart settles without explanation, it is because alignment has occurred at a deeper level. This tomorrow is not fragile. It does not depend on perfect decisions, flawless parenting, or constant vigilance. It rests on God's faithfulness. What He begins, He sustains. What He secures, He preserves. And what He assigns Archangel Michael to guard is not temporary or conditional. Let this understanding recalibrate how you view time. You are not behind. Your children are not late. Nothing essential has been missed. Heaven does not operate on panic schedules. It operates on purpose. Purpose always arrives exactly when it should, no earlier and no later. As you approach this tomorrow, do so with a settled heart. Expect peace rather than disruption. Expect clarity rather than confusion. Expect quiet confirmation rather than loud display. Trust that what you cannot see has already been addressed. This is how divine care often works, thoroughly, gently, and with unwavering authority. You are not standing at the edge of uncertainty. You are standing at the entrance of alignment. And heaven is already present, holding everything steady as this moment unfolds. My beloved one, now is the moment to understand the role Archangel Michael plays when it comes to families, households, and generational lines, because his assignment is far deeper than most people realize. He is not only a warrior who appears in moments of visible crisis. He is a guardian of order, a defender of divine boundaries, and a protector of what God has marked as essential for the future. When children are involved, his presence becomes especially intentional. Archangel Michael is often positioned where legacies are being formed. Families are not just collections of individuals. They are streams that carry identity, values, and purpose forward through time. Heaven views families as vessels through which God's plans continue unfolding on the earth. That is why protection over a household is never random. When Michael is assigned to a family, it means something within that family line carries significance beyond the present moment. Protection does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like restraint. Sometimes it looks like redirection. Sometimes it looks like delays that later reveal themselves as mercy. Archangel Michael enforces divine limits around families so that what is meant to grow does so safely. He stands at thresholds, ensuring that what enters aligns with God's intention, and what does not belong is turned away before it can take root. Many parents assume protection only activates when danger is obvious. In truth, the strongest protection is often preventative. Heaven intervenes early, quietly, and thoroughly. That is why you may not have witnessed dramatic battles or visible opposition. Michael's presence often ensures those battles never escalate. What could have become complicated is resolved before it ever surfaces. That is not absence of action. That is mastery of authority. Generational protection is one of his most important roles. Patterns do not repeat by accident. Struggles do not pass down randomly. Heaven is deeply aware of cycles that attempt to move from one generation to the next. When God decides that a pattern ends with you, Archangel Michael is often assigned to enforce that decision. He stands between the past and the future, and ensures that what harmed previous generations does not gain access to the next. This is why this moment carries weight. Something about your family line has reached a point of interruption. What once lingered as a quiet influence no longer has permission to continue unchecked. This does not require your effort to enforce. Enforcement belongs to heaven. Your role is awareness and trust. Michael's role is authority and execution. There is also comfort in understanding that protection is layered. It is not singular or fragile. Archangel Michael does not stand alone. He operates within God's command structure, surrounded by divine order. What he guards is guarded completely. Your household is not relying on chance or human vigilance. It is under supervision that does not sleep, does not overlook details, and does not tire. You may begin to notice subtle confirmations of this protection. A sense of peace when you would normally worry. A closed door that once frustrated you but now feels relieving. A situation that resolves without escalation. These are not coincidences. They are evidence of boundaries being enforced on your behalf. It is important to release the idea that protection requires constant fear. Fear does not strengthen families. Trust does. Archangel Michael's involvement is not meant to keep you tense. It is meant to allow you to breathe again. When heaven takes position, parents are allowed to rest. Rest is not neglect. Rest is confidence that authority has been established. Your children do not need you to be perfect. They need you to be present and peaceful. Divine protection works best where love is steady and fear is released. This message is not calling you into hyper-awareness, but into settled assurance. Heaven does not assign Michael lightly. His presence signals that something valuable is being guarded with precision. There is also a future-focused aspect to this protection. Archangel Michael does not only guard against present interference, he guards potential. He ensures that calling is not prematurely burdened, that identity is not confused, and that direction is not distorted. Much of what he protects will only be fully understood years from now, when you look back and realize how carefully paths were preserved. Let this truth anchor you. Your family is not exposed. Your children are not vulnerable. Your household is not overlooked. Heaven has taken responsibility for what matters most. And when Archangel Michael is assigned, it is because God has declared, this must be protected without compromise. As this understanding settles, allow gratitude to replace tension. Gratitude acknowledges protection without demanding proof. Gratitude aligns your heart with heaven's work. You do not need to see everything that is being done. It is enough to know that it is being done thoroughly, faithfully, and with authority that does not fail. You are not holding your family together by strength alone. You are supported by divine order, enforced by heavenly authority, and surrounded by protection that extends beyond what your eyes can see. And that protection is active now, steady now, and unwavering as your children move forward into what God has prepared for them. My beloved one, now we come to a very important moment, because after understanding what heaven is doing and why Archangel Michael has taken his position, there is a gentle but clear invitation being extended to you. This is not an instruction rooted in pressure, and it is not a demand placed upon your shoulders. Heaven does not operate that way. What is being asked of you right now is alignment of the heart, a posture that allows divine protection to function without resistance. The first thing heaven is inviting you into is inner stillness. Not silence of life, but stillness of spirit. Stillness means choosing trust over constant mental noise. Many parents love deeply but unknowingly exhaust themselves by rehearsing every possible outcome, especially negative ones. That habit does not increase protection. It drains peace. This moment is calling you to release imagined futures and rest in the assurance that what concerns your children has already been addressed at a higher level. When Archangel Michael is involved, striving is unnecessary. Stillness is not weakness. It is confidence without explanation. It is the quiet knowing that authority has already been established. You are not being asked to stop caring. You are being asked to stop carrying what you were never meant to carry alone. Heaven does not expect parents to enforce outcomes. That responsibility belongs to God. Your role is to love, guide, and remain present with a calm heart. The second invitation is awareness without fear. Awareness sharpens perception, but fear distorts it. You are not being asked to watch your children with suspicion or to interpret every behavior as a sign. You are being asked to stay grounded and attentive without panic. Grounded parents create emotional safety, and emotional safety allows children to thrive under protection rather than pressure. Awareness means you notice when peace replaces worry. You notice when tension dissolves without explanation. You notice when conversations feel lighter or when your own reactions soften. These are not accidents. They are confirmations that alignment is taking place. Fear demands control. Awareness allows trust. The third invitation is agreement. Agreement is one of the most powerful forces in the spiritual realm. Agreement does not require perfect words or elaborate prayers. Agreement is a decision of the heart that says, I trust what you are doing, even if I cannot fully see it yet. When you agree with heaven, resistance collapses. Anxiety loses authority. Peace takes its rightful place. Agreement is not passive. It is intentional surrender. It is choosing faith when uncertainty tries to speak louder. This is the posture that strengthens what God is already doing around your children. Heaven moves most freely where trust is present. This is also a moment that extends beyond you alone. Messages like this are not given only for personal reassurance. They are meant to create collective covering. There are other parents right now who feel something shifting but cannot explain it. There are families carrying silent concern without language for it. When you like this message, when you leave a comment, when you share it, you are helping this word reach households that desperately need peace. Subscribing to this channel is not about numbers. It is about staying connected to a flow of messages designed to strengthen families and steady hearts. Joining membership is an act of alignment with a mission focused on protection, clarity, and spiritual grounding. These are not obligations placed on you. They are opportunities to respond to what your spirit already recognizes as truth. You may notice something subtle as you take these steps. Your heart may feel lighter. Your thoughts may slow. Your breathing may deepen. That is not coincidence. Alignment produces relief. When your actions match what your spirit already knows, inner tension releases naturally. Heaven often confirms alignment not with excitement, but with peace. It is also important to understand that you are not being prepared for something negative. You are being prepared to recognize something positive. Many people miss divine confirmations because they expect dramatic signs. God often confirms His work through quiet assurance, a settled heart, a calm confidence, a sense that things are being handled beyond your effort. As a parent, it is natural to want guarantees. But faith is not built on guarantees. It is built on trust. This moment is strengthening your ability to trust without constant reassurance. But trust will not make you careless. It will make you steady. And steadiness is one of the greatest gifts you can give your children. You may also feel a shift in how you pray. Lot longer prayers, lot more intense prayers, but calmer ones. Prayers rooted in gratitude rather than repetition. Thanking God for protection already in place shifts the atmosphere more powerfully than anxious requests ever could. Gratitude acknowledges that heaven has already responded. Pay attention to how your spirit feels right now. That inner state matters. God often guides through inner witness rather than external instruction. The peace you are sensing is not accidental. It is directional. Hold on to this awareness, because the understanding that is unfolding next brings everything together in a way that will deeply reassure your heart. You will want to receive that clarity fully, because it connects every piece of what has been revealed so far into one steady, comforting truth. My beloved one, there is a deeper layer to what is unfolding now, and it touches something many families experience but rarely speak about openly. It is the breaking of old patterns over your children. Patterns do not always look dramatic. Sometimes they appear as repeated struggles, familiar fears, quiet limitations, or emotional tendencies that seem to pass from one generation to the next. Heaven is very aware of these cycles, and when God decides that a pattern must stop, He intervenes with precision and authority. This moment marks an interruption. What once flowed unnoticed is being confronted gently but firmly. Patterns are not always the result of conscious choices. Many are inherited environments, learned responses, or emotional imprints that formed long before your child had words to describe them. God does not blame families for these things. Instead, He heals them. Archangel Michael is often assigned when a generational line reaches a point where continuation is no longer permitted. Breaking patterns does not require confrontation or force from you. It requires alignment with what heaven is already doing. Many parents exhaust themselves trying to fix what only God can fully heal. This message is releasing you from that burden. Enforcement belongs to heaven. Your role is to remain steady and receptive as the shift takes place. You may notice subtle changes in how your child responds to situations that once triggered difficulty. Reactions soften. Resistance fades. Emotional weight lifts gradually. These changes are not accidents. They are evidence that something old is losing its influence. When Archangel Michael enforces a boundary, patterns do not argue. They retreat. It is important to understand that breaking patterns does not erase history. It redeems it. God does not pretend the past did not exist. He transforms its impact. What once shaped responses unconsciously no longer has authority to define the future. This is how generational healing works. It does not deny what was. It reclaims what will be. Some parents fear that acknowledging generational issues will somehow invite them to continue. The opposite is true. Awareness without fear dissolves power. Heaven exposes patterns only when it is ready to remove them. Archangel Michael does not reveal what cannot be handled. His involvement is proof that removal is already underway. There may be moments where you recognize familiar tendencies and feel concern rise. When that happens, return to peace rather than panic. Peace is not denial. Peace is confidence that authority has shifted. Old patterns thrive on fear and repetition. They lose strength when met with calm certainty. This interruption is not temporary. It is structural. Something has been rearranged at the foundation. That is why this shift may feel quiet but weighty. Foundations are not flashy, but they determine everything built upon them. Heaven is working at that level for your children. You may also notice changes within yourself. Patterns do not only affect children, they affect parents too. As heaven breaks cycles over your household, you may feel released from emotional responses you carried for years. Irritations lose intensity. Worries no longer spiral. Reactions soften. This is not weakness. It is healing spreading outward. Archangel Michael's role here is enforcement. When God declares the pattern ends, Michael ensures that declaration is honored. He stands at the boundary between what was and what will be. What once crossed freely no longer has access. That boundary does not require your vigilance to remain intact. It is maintained by divine authority. Let yourself receive this truth fully. Your children are not destined to repeat what burdened previous generations. They are not required to carry unresolved weight. Heaven has declared interruption, and interruption leads to freedom. What was once familiar but heavy is losing relevance. Breaking patterns does not always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like relief without explanation. Sometimes it feels like space where tension used to live. Sometimes it feels like hope returning quietly. These are signs of healing taking root. You do not need to announce this shift to anyone. You do not need to defend it or explain it. It will speak for itself over time. Truth does not need explanation. It reveals itself naturally. As this part of the work continues, allow patience to accompany faith. Patterns formed over time unwind with care. Heaven is thorough, not rushed. What is being healed now is being healed well. Hold this assurance close. What ends here does not return. What is broken here does not rebuild. What is healed here does not reopen. God is faithful to complete what He begins, especially when it concerns children. Your family is moving forward lighter than before. Your children are stepping into space that was previously occupied by old limitations. And heaven is ensuring that what once lingered quietly no longer has permission to follow them into what comes next. My beloved one, now we arrive at a place of deep reassurance, because what heaven is placing over your children in this season is not temporary, fragile, or uncertain. It is a deliberate protective covering, carefully established and continually maintained by divine authority. A covering is very different from a reaction. Reaction responds after something happens. A covering is placed before anything can touch, confuse, or disturb. Heaven does not wait for trouble to appear before it acts. It moves ahead of time, and Archangel Michael has been instrumental in setting this covering firmly into place around your children. This covering may not announce itself with visible signs, but it makes itself known through peace. Peace where there used to be tension. Calm where there was once restlessness. Clarity where confusion tried to linger. These are not emotional fluctuations. These are spiritual indicators. Archangel Michael enforces boundaries not only around physical safety, but around influence, direction, thought patterns, and identity. He ensures that what reaches your children contributes to growth rather than disruption. The divine covering works quietly but completely. It guards then key points that many parents never think about. It filters conversations, environments, and internal responses. It softens what would have overwhelmed and restrains what would have distracted. Many parents believe protection must be loud to be effective, but heaven's most powerful work often unfolds in silence. Silence does not mean nothing is happening. Silence means control has been established. You may begin to notice that situations which once escalated now resolve with less effort. Conversations that once felt heavy now feel lighter. Decisions that once caused anxiety now feel clearer. Even when challenges arise, they do not linger or spiral the way they once did. These are not coincidences. They are outcomes of alignment. When a covering is active, friction decreases and flow increases. Archangel Michael's role in this covering is durability. This is not a temporary shield that lifts when seasons change. It is reinforced by authority that does not weaken. This covering adapts as your children grow. It extends as their world extends. It does not expire with age, environment, or transition. Heaven's protection matures alongside those it guards. It is important to understand that divine protection does not isolate your children from life. It guides how life reaches them. Experiences are filtered. Lessons arrive with wisdom rather than harm. Challenges build strength rather than fear. This is the difference between exposure and preparation. Heaven prepares those it intends to protect deeply. You may also sense this covering affecting your household atmosphere as a whole. Homes under divine covering often feel steadier. Emotional tension dissipates more quickly. Conflict loses intensity. Peace becomes the foundation instead of the exception. This does not mean perfection. It means resilience. When issues arise, they resolve instead of compounding. That is a sign of divine order at work. As this covering settles, your role remains simple. Maintain peace. Maintain trust. Coverings are strengthened by gratitude, not anxiety. Fear does not reinforce protection. Trust does. When you choose peace, you are not being passive. You are aligning yourself with what heaven has already established. That alignment strengthens what is already in place. There is also a moment of recognition here. Recognition matters in the spiritual realm. When you recognize divine protection, awareness increases. Awareness deepens gratitude. Gratitude anchors peace. Peace sustains alignment. Your cycle strengthens families from the inside out. You do not need to strive to keep this covering active. You only need to remain receptive to it. Let this truth settle deeply now. Your children are not navigating life uncovered. They are not exposed to randomness. They are not moving without supervision. They are walking within boundaries established by heaven itself. Archangel Michael's presence ensures those boundaries are respected consistently, thoroughly, and without compromise. Some parents worry that protection might make children fragile. The opposite is true. Proper covering creates confidence. It allows children to grow without carrying unnecessary weight. It allows curiosity without confusion, strength without hardness, direction without pressure. This is the fruit of divine care. If this word is resonating with your spirit, acknowledge it now as an act of agreement. Type "My children are covered" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 928 has now been released over your household. And as this covering is being recognized, there is a call that flows naturally from this moment. Protection was never meant to stop with one family. It is meant to extend outward. I feel led to speak to those whose hearts are stirred to help this message reach other parents who desperately need peace. Every seed sown into this work becomes shelter for another household, light for another child, reassurance for another parent. The Lord says, "Those who help me cover others will never lack covering themselves." If you feel that prompting now, respond without delay. Release your support through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal using the link in the description. I declare that every giver receives multiplied peace, strengthened families, and reinforced protection over their children. Act now in obedience, and let what you release become refuge for many. My beloved one, there is a specific way parents of faith respond when divine shifts begin to unfold, and it is very different from how the world responds to uncertainty. The world reacts with control, fear, and urgency. Parents of faith respond with discernment, patience, and trust. This moment is gently teaching you how to stand in that posture, because how you respond now shapes how smoothly this shift settles into your family's life. Faith-filled response does not mean ignoring reality. It means interpreting reality through a higher lens. You are not denying challenges. You are refusing to give them authority. When heaven moves on behalf of your children, your role is not to analyze every detail, but to remain anchored in confidence that God is present, active, and intentional. Anchored parents transmit stability without ever needing to explain it. One of the clearest signs of a faith-led response is calm decision-making. You may notice that you are no longer rushing to conclusions. You pause before reacting. You listen more carefully. You feel less pressure to fix everything immediately. This is not disengagement. This is discernment growing stronger. Discernment allows you to recognize what requires action and what requires trust. Many parents exhaust themselves responding to things that never required intervention in the first place. Another mark of this response is emotional steadiness. Emotional steadiness does not mean you never feel concern. It means concern does not control you. You feel it, acknowledge it, and then release it. This creates a safe emotional environment for your children. Children sense when parents are internally stable, even if they cannot articulate it. Stability becomes a form of protection all its own. Parents of faith also learn to speak differently during divine shifts. Words carry atmosphere. Instead of speaking fear, they speak assurance. Instead of voicing worst-case scenarios, they affirm trust. This does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing language that aligns with what heaven is doing rather than what anxiety suggests. Alignment through words strengthens alignment in the spirit. You may find yourself less interested in outside opinions right now. That is not isolation. That is focus. Divine shifts often require reduced noise so clarity can settle. Everyone will not understand what you sense. Everyone does not need to. Faith-led response values inner confirmation over external validation. When heaven speaks, it speaks to the heart first. There is also patience in this posture. Faith understands that not everything reveals itself immediately. Some shifts unfold in layers. Some confirmations arrive gradually. Patience does not mean passivity. It means refusing to rush what God is carefully forming. Rushed understanding often distorts divine work. Patient trust allows it to mature fully. Parents of faith also resist the temptation to revisit old fears. When cycles are broken and coverings are placed, old anxieties may try to resurface out of habit. Faith recognizes this and chooses differently. Instead of replaying old concerns, you remind yourself that authority has shifted. What once worried you no longer holds the same weight. Releasing old fear is part of stepping into new alignment. You may also notice a strengthening of intuition during this time. Faith sharpens perception. You sense when to lean in and when to step back. You recognize moments that require prayer and moments that require rest. This balance is not accidental. Heaven is teaching you how to partner without striving. It is important to understand that faith-led response does not demand perfection. You will still have moments of uncertainty. What matters is where you return. Each time you choose trust over panic, you reinforce alignment. Each time you choose peace over control, you strengthen the atmosphere around your children. This posture also prepares you for future seasons. What you are learning now becomes a foundation. As your children grow, your ability to respond with discernment rather than fear will become increasingly valuable. Heaven often uses current shifts to equip parents for what lies ahead. You may not receive immediate external confirmation of everything you sense. That is normal. Faith often walks ahead of visible proof. What matters is the internal confirmation settling in your spirit. That quiet confidence is not imagined. It is cultivated. Allow yourself grace in this process. You are not expected to master it overnight. Divine alignment unfolds with compassion. Heaven is patient with you, just as you are patient with your children. This mutual patience creates harmony. As this part of the journey continues, remain rooted in trust. Let discernment guide your responses. Let peace inform your decisions. Let faith shape your expectations. You are responding correctly simply by choosing to remain grounded. This is how parents of faith walk through divine shifts, not with fear, not with force, but with confidence that what God has begun, He is faithful to complete. My beloved one, allow your heart to settle here, because this moment is not about learning something new, but about being prepared internally for what heaven has already put in motion. Preparation of the heart is one of the most compassionate things God ever does for a parent. He does not wait for you to feel overwhelmed before He strengthens you. He prepares you quietly, gently, long before pressure could ever arrive. This is exactly what is happening now. Archangel Michael's involvement has never been about urgency rooted in fear. It has always been about readiness anchored in peace. Many people misunderstand preparation because they associate it with tension, planning, or constant alertness. Divine preparation looks nothing like that. It looks like calm replacing restlessness. It looks like clarity replacing overthinking. It looks like your heart learning how to rest without losing awareness. Heaven prepares parents by stabilizing their inner world so that whatever unfolds externally never steals their peace. When the inside is steady, the outside loses its power to disturb. You may already notice subtle changes within yourself. Situations that once triggered immediate concern now meet a pause. Thoughts that once spiraled now slow down. You may feel less urgency to control outcomes or predict every possibility. This is not disengagement. This is growth. God is teaching you how to stand firmly without tightening your grip. Anchored parents do not panic easily, and that anchoring creates emotional safety for children even when words are never spoken. Archangel Michael's role at this stage is deeply protective. He is not only guarding circumstances, he is guarding your emotional posture. Emotional preparedness is often more important than circumstantial preparedness. When the heart is calm, decisions become wiser. Conversations become gentler. Discernment becomes clearer. Children do not need parents who have all the answers. They need parents whose presence communicates safety. That safety is being strengthened within you now. There is also a collective aspect to this preparation. You are not the only parent sensing this shift. Many are feeling it, even if they cannot explain it yet. This is why it matters to acknowledge and support spaces where faith, protection, and clarity are being shared. When you like this message, when you comment, when you share it with someone who needs reassurance, you are extending peace beyond your own household. You are helping other parents realize they are not alone. Subscribing keeps you connected to messages designed to steady hearts. Joining membership aligns you with a mission focused on protecting families and strengthening faith. These actions are not obligations. They are responses that carry intention and spiritual weight. This preparation is also reshaping your expectations. Many parents wait for dramatic signs before they feel secure. Heaven often confirms its work through consistency and said, consistent peace, consistent clarity, a steady sense that things are being handled beyond your effort. These confirmations may feel quiet, but they are far stronger than emotional highs. Stability lasts longer than excitement. You may also notice changes in how you communicate within your household. Less explaining, less warning, more presence, more reassurance. Children do not always need logic. They need emotional steadiness. When your tone carries calm, it transmits safety more powerfully than words ever could. This is part of the preparation too. Heaven is teaching you how to lead your home with peace rather than pressure. Old habits of worry may still try to surface occasionally. That does not mean preparation has failed. It means practice is happening. Faith grows through repetition, just like fear once did. Each time you return to trust, you strengthen that pathway. Each time you choose peace instead of control, you reinforce alignment. God is patient with this process. He does not expect instant perfection. He values direction of the heart. This preparation is gentle because it is meant to last. Heaven is not rushing you through it. God is equipping you for more than just this moment. What is being established now will serve you in future seasons, conversations, and decisions. The steadiness you are learning will carry forward as your children grow, face new environments, and step into new stages of life. Pay close attention to how your spirit feels right now. That internal state matters deeply. God often confirms direction through inner witness rather than external signs. The calm that is settling is not accidental. It is evidence that preparation is taking root exactly where it needs to. And before this moment moves forward, hear this clearly. There is a reassurance ahead that many parents desperately need, and it ties everything together into one deeply comforting truth. It brings relief where worry once lived and confidence where uncertainty once lingered. Give yourself permission to remain fully present, because this is where clarity becomes solid and peace becomes undeniable. My beloved one, now we come to a place of quiet confirmation, the kind that many parents long for but often overlook because it does not arrive with noise or drama. This confirmation does not shout. It settles. It rests. It wraps itself gently around your heart and steadies you from the inside out. This confirmation is peace. Not peace as an idea, not peace as a temporary feeling, but peace as evidence that something hath been resolved at a level far beyond what you could reach on your own. When God completes a protective work, He rarely explains every detail. Explanation satisfies curiosity, but peace secures the soul. Parents carry weight in their hearts that no one else sees, and God aggresses that weight directly. This peace you are sensing is not self-generated. You did not talk yourself into it. You did not force it into place. It arrived naturally, and that is how you know it is real. Peace that comes without effort is heaven's signature. You may notice that thoughts which once loop endlessly have slowed. Questions that once demanded immediate answers no longer feel urgent. The pressure that once lived in your chest has softened. Even if circumstances around you look the same, something within you has shifted. That internal shift is not imaginary. It is confirmation that alignment has taken place. Heaven confirms alignment not by increasing alertness, but by releasing calm. Archangel Michael's presence is often followed by this kind of peace. His assignment is not only to defend and enforce, but to establish order. Once boundaries are secured and protection is in place, peace becomes the atmosphere. It signals that vigilance no longer needs to come from you. The watch has been set. The ground has been claimed. The responsibility has shifted from your shoulders to divine authority. Many parents struggle to trust peace because they associate love with constant concern. They believe that if they stop worrying, they are somehow failing to protect. But worry is not a requirement of love. In fact, worry often clouds love's clarity. This peace is not telling you to stop caring. It is inviting you to care without fear attached. Love flows more freely when it is not weighed down by anxiety. This peace also sharpens discernment. When fear quiets, wisdom speaks more clearly. You may notice that decisions feel simpler now. You are not second-guessing every choice. You are not replaying conversations in your mind. You feel more confident in small, everyday moments. This is not coincidence. Discernment thrives where peace reigns. Peace is also protective in itself. Children are deeply sensitive to the emotional atmosphere of their homes. When peace becomes the foundation, children feel safer, even if they cannot explain why. Safety fosters growth. Growth fosters confidence. Confidence allows children to explore, learn, and develop without carrying unnecessary emotional weight. This is one of the ways divine protection multiplies quietly and effectively. It is important to understand that peace does not mean challenges will never arise. It means challenges will not dominate your home or define your children's experience. Issues may appear, but they will not escalate the way they once did. They will not steal your sleep or your clarity. Peace ensures that when challenges arise, they are handled with wisdom rather than panic, with calm rather than urgency. You may feel tempted to question this calm, especially if you are accustomed to being on guard. But peace is not complacency. It is confidence in established authority. When Archangel Michael has taken his position, constant alertness is no longer required from you. Heaven has assumed responsibility for what matters most. Allow yourself to rest in this confirmation without guilt. Rest is not neglect. Rest is trust. God does not invite parents into peace prematurely. He invites them when protection is already in place. Peace is not a gamble. It is a result. His peace also confirms timing. It tells you that you are not late. You did not miss anything essential. You arrived at this moment exactly when you were meant to. Heaven does not rush parents into awareness before they are ready to receive it. Preparation always comes before revelation. You were prepared before you were informed. Notice how your body responds as well. Your breathing may be slower. Your shoulders may feel lighter. Your posture may soften. The body often responds to peace before the mind fully understands it. God works holistically. He settles the whole person, not just thoughts. This peace will continue to guide you moving forward. When something does not align with it, you will sense resistance. When something aligns, you will feel reinforced. Peace becomes a compass. Not loud, not demanding, but reliable. It helps you navigate without strain. Do not analyze this peace away. You do not need to explain it for it to be valid. You do not need to justify calm for it to be real. Peace stands on its own as evidence that divine order has been established. Your children are surrounded. Your household is covered. The work that needed to be done has been done thoroughly, carefully, and with authority greater than your own. Your role now is not to worry forward, but to walk forward with confidence. This peace you feel is not temporary. It is the residue of protection fulfilled, the echo of authority established, and the assurance that what concerns your children has been handled with care far deeper than you could ever provide alone. Let it remain. My beloved child, we now arrive at the place where everything spoken begins to rest, not as information, but as assurance. This is not an ending marked by uncertainty. This is a closing sealed with clarity, confidence, and divine peace. Heaven does not speak to stir hearts and then leave them unsettled. Heaven speaks to establish truth, to anchor trust, and to remind you that what concerns you has already been addressed at a level higher than your reach. What has unfolded through this message was not accidental. It was intentional, measured, and guided. Let this truth settle deeply within you now. Your children are not stepping into tomorrow uncovered. They are not exposed to chance, randomness, or unseen forces without supervision. Heaven has already taken responsibility for what concerns them. Archangel Michael's involvement was not symbolic or poetic. It was strategic and authoritative. His assignment was not temporary. It was decisive. What has been guarded remains guarded. What had been shifted remains aligned. What had been covered remains covered. Everything you sensed before encountering this message now finds its explanation. The quiet inner nudges, the moments of awareness that came without words, the concern that did not feel like fear, but like attentiveness. None of that was wasted emotion. It was preparation. God often prepares parents internally before He confirms things externally. You were being readied to receive assurance without panic, to hear truth without overwhelm. And now that assurance has been released. This does not mean your children will never face challenges. It means challenges will not dominate their direction. It means confusion will not control their choices. It means distractions will not easily derail their purpose. Divine protection does not remove life's experiences. It governs how those experiences shape the heart. Under heaven's covering, even difficult moments are refined into wisdom instead of harm, growth instead of damage. You may not see dramatic changes immediately, and that is not a lack of confirmation. Some of the most powerful works of God are recognized only when you look back and realize how smoothly something resolved, how gently a situation shifted, how naturally peace replaced what once felt heavy. One day you will recognize moments where things could have gone differently, but did not. Those will be quiet confirmations that heaven truly was involved. Release now the pressure to foresee everything. You were never meant to predict outcomes. You were meant to trust the one who already sees them. God has not asked you to carry tomorrow's weight today. He has asked you to stand in today's peace, and that peace has already been placed within you. Your household is not fragile. Your family is not exposed. Your children are not overlooked. Heaven has taken position, and heaven does not abandon what it commits to protect. When Archangel Michael is assigned, it is because God has declared, "This matters deeply to me." And what matters deeply to God is handled completely, carefully, and with authority that does not fail. Let gratitude now replace tension. Let assurance replace worry. Let trust replace overthinking. These are not emotional exercises. They are spiritual alignments. Every time you choose peace, you reinforce what heaven has already established. Every time you release fear, you strengthen the covering already in place. Alignment is not something you force. It is something you accept. Speak this quietly in your heart if you need to. My children are safe. My household is covered. Heaven is involved. Words spoken in agreement carry power even when they are whispered. Heaven listens to alignment. Now receive this final seal with confidence and faith. Type "My house is secured" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated over your household, your children, and everything connected to their future. And before we close, listen carefully, because this flows directly from what has just been sealed. Messages like this do not exist only to comfort one heart. They exist to carry light into homes still heavy with worry, into parents still carrying silent burdens, into families still waiting for reassurance. This is where obedience becomes action. I am speaking to you directly now, not as a suggestion, but as an invitation from heaven itself. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, linked in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into protection for families. The Lord declares, "As you help me cover others, I will surround your house with peace." Every seed released becomes oil for another lamp, shelter for another household, reassurance for another parent. I bless every giver with multiplied peace, strengthened families, and divine favor resting on their children. Do not hesitate. Respond now, and let your obedience become a doorway of safety, light, and covering for many.